So we're now
Recording in
recording.
progress. That's my favorite part of the Zooms every week now.
Favorite part of the Zoom. So yeah, welcome everybody. It's our standard Tuesday evening fortnightly networking webinar. We've got a really exciting speaker this evening, somebody that I know quite well now, Fran Brazil of Co-Host Partners, the #1 serviced accommodation management company here in sunny South Wales. She's with us now. Fran's got a great history in sales and marketing. She's a wonderful person to hang out with, and she also knows her stuff when it comes to serviced accommodation. So on our minds a lot, I know a lot of people are talking about serviced accommodation. A lot of people are doing very well out of serviced accommodation. So I wanted to invite Fran on here just to share a few hints, tips, hacks, and secrets as to the world of serviced accommodation. So we're all on here now. We've got Tina, we've got Rakina, we've got Darius, we've got Hannah, we've got Cecilia, we've got Ben, we've got Lisa, we've got Miriam. Welcome, Miriam. Your first time, Miriam, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it is.
Good evening and welcome. I'm going to pick on you now. Tell us about yourself. Who are you and where are you from?
Oh my God, I don't know. Right, so I'm Miriam. I'm originally from Cardiff. I come across you obviously on the internet, just sort of browsing through, interested in property. I have got one, two, three, five properties and looking to develop my portfolio, as is everyone else, I'm sure. I've recently bought a place in Taunton, which it was the most arduous journey and have nearly sort of put me off for life. It was one of those through touchstone education, and it was an off plan. And but anyway, we're over the line now. I've completed last week, so hopefully I'll get it rented out and then go forward from there. It's been a learning curve, a big one.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, welcome on board. If you need any help from us, you've got our contact deals. Please feel free to drop either myself or Jamie a message. And indeed, if anybody else wants to connect, then obviously we're all on here together. So it's a really nice community. Like I say, quite a few people have been coming on for some time now. My dog, one of my 6 dogs, didn't get the memo that we've got a Ring doorbell and just thinks that he's got to echo it. So I do apologize if there's a bit of background noise. But I think it might be a good time on that note just to introduce Fran and give her the stage for the evening. If you want to pop your presentation up, Fran. Fran is here to talk to us about serviced accommodation.
Woohoo! Miriam, have you just bought an Alesco?
Yes.
Alesco. Yeah, we work really closely with them. So
do you?
Yeah. And yeah, it has taken a long time, hasn't it, to complete. So I'll pop my details up at the end and feel free to give me a call. We work really closely.
Lovely. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I will do.
No problem. Right, I'm sharing my screen. She says, share. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
So I just want to let you all know that it's not, I'm not sending everybody back to school and it's death by PowerPoint. It's just, I've put something together just so we can have a discussion. I like to chat, so it keeps me on track. So yeah, it's the words death by PowerPoint still haunt me to this day. So yeah, it's not a lecture. But I'm from Brazil. I have a short-term let management company. So I started many moons ago by managing my own properties. And then I started a short-term property management company just because of an immediate need of the service myself. So, you know, it was the days when you had to meet people and then awkwardly show them around a flat and be like, this is your bathroom, this is where you'll sleep. It wasn't, it wasn't as easy as lock boxes then. And I thought, well, this is hard work. I need a management company. I met with a few management companies, and then I did give my property to a management company, which was fantastic. I learned loads. Then in lockdown in 2022, in August, I decided to start my own short-term let management company. What a great time to start when the world shuts down, but I'm still here, so it wasn't too bad. I traded as home hosts for 4 years. We got up to 50 properties that we managed, and we were all over South Wales, so from Tenby to Newport, and lots in Cardiff and Swansea. And then May 24, so very recently, I have merged my company with a larger management company called Co-Host Partners. So we now have 180 properties that we manage all across the UK. Mostly in Cardiff, we have 90, and then the rest is spread all over the country. So that's my story. That's where I've come from and where I am today. So I will be talking about Co-Host Partners, but on my screen it says Home Host because I'm still I still own Home Host. We've just merged into one. So I just want to chat with you guys about this evolving short-term rental sector, which is growing every single day. It's getting bigger and it's not stopping anytime soon. And just talk about why people short-term let. And I want to talk to you about mid-term stays, which are booming at the moment. I'm going to give you some little golden tips, and then I'm just going to briefly talk to you about Co-Host Partners, the company, and what we offer as a management service. And then if any of you got any questions, feel free just to let me know. So Airbnb, Booking.com, booking platforms have revolutionized the way we've been traveling. So it's offering us new and unique spaces, flexible lodging options that we never had in the past. It was all hotels. Then Airbnb came along and it was like, wow, what is this world of staying in other people's homes? It's totally transformed travel experiences for millions and millions of people.
See what she's doing.
Oh, hello? Can you see?
I can see you.
Yeah. Can everybody else see and hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sorry. So whether you're a property owner, you're a traveller, or someone who just wants to learn more about short-term lets, I hope you find the following insightful. So let's talk about Airbnb. I think it's amazing how we say Airbnb as short-term rental. You know, nobody these days, nobody rings me up and says, oh, hi, I want a Booking.com my property. Everyone says, hi, I'm really interested in Airbnb and my property out. We always say, let's book an Airbnb this weekend. So I just want to touch on the beast that is Airbnb that has brought us to really where we are today with short-term rental. I don't know how many of you know the story. I think it's really cool. I wish I'd thought of it because I don't think I'd be sitting here right now. I'd be a billionaire. But it was two guys struggling to pay their rent in San Francisco, and they came up with the idea that they were going to rent out air mattresses in their apartment to people that were attending a local conference, and they couldn't find hotels in the area. Genius. Then they thought, wow, this is amazing. Why don't we start renting out rooms? And then the whole Airbnb was born. They first called it Airbnb Bread and Breakfast. So absolutely genius idea. And it's just evolved from there. At the moment, as of 2023, Airbnb has over 7 million listings worldwide. And in the UK, there's over 300,000 homes listed in the UK, which is growing year on year. So Airbnb has double-digit growth. This is a massive opportunity for people with property that want to get involved with the short-term rental market. Now, yes, I know some of you are probably thinking, yeah, that's great. There's so many properties on Airbnb, Booking.com and other booking platforms. Is the supply growing faster than the demand? and that really depends on the area. So, for example, in Cardiff, yes, there is more Airbnbs listed than there are people looking for Airbnbs. And quite recently, I got a statistic, and it was growing at 10% with the amount of listings that were being added in Cardiff, but the demand was only growing 5%. So it's not huge, but then you'll go to other places such as Manchester, Liverpool, where there's more demand than supply. So it just depends on region of where your property is. And short-term rentals gives you massive opportunities, and I'm just going to list several of them because a lot of people know lots about long-term and the legislation and returns on if you've got a long-term tenant, but less so on short-term. So the most obvious one is higher revenue potential. So short-term rentals often yield higher per night compared to long-term leases. The flexibility. So property owners have the flexibility of actually booking out their property. So how lovely, they've got a holiday home. When they're not using it, they're earning money on it. And then short-term rentals can diversify an owner's income stream as well, providing financial stability and resilience against changing markets all the time. Also market demand, increasing demand for unique personalized travel experiences drives a strong market. So as I've already touched on, the whole travel, the way people travel is changing so much. So it's just giving people extra places to go because people want experiences. There's great tax benefits, so they can take advantage of expenses related to short-term rental businesses, meeting diverse needs, the ability to offer a range of accommodations from budget to luxury to cater for different guest preferences. And then the property appreciation, which I think is quite important. So maintaining and upgrading a property for short-term rentals can enhance its market value. Because as you'll know, with an Airbnb, we're always striving for 5-star. So you cannot let anything go amiss. So you've got people constantly checking in, checking out. They tell you if there's a problem, you go get it fixed. So it's the potential to keep the appreciation in the home. So I think that's always a really key one to take away. And then I just want to quickly talk to you about midterm stays, because I'm talking about people going on holiday. As we know, Airbnb, people will go away for 1 or 2 nights. But what's becoming really popular, especially in our company in Co-Host Partners, are these midterm stays. Now, midterm stays are amazing. We love them. So we will have a guest staying anywhere between a month to 3 months, 4 months, and they're paying a nightly rate, which is brilliant. They're so easy to manage. It's amazing money for you. It's great money for us. We love them. And 40% actually of our overall bookings at the moment are now midterm stays. So it's on the up. And I've just noted a couple of reasons why it's so attractive to a property owner to have midterms. So the most obvious is the higher monthly rates. We get lower vacancy rates as well. So yeah, your property is not sitting there, for 40% of the time with no one in there. You get 100% occupancy. It's great. You get less wear and tear. It's a stable income without the long-term commitment. So people quite like that. And it also attracts a different demographic of people as well, because people are traveling more with business at the moment. There's a rise in digital nomads. People are relocating for work and they can't go and get a long-term tenancy because, sometimes they'll only be working in an area for say 3 or 4 months and then they'll be going back home again. So there's a massive demand, especially in different areas that we're finding. We cannot get enough properties to cater for these midterm stays. And I just wanted to give a few, so as I said, I've been a host for probably 7 or 8 years now. And it's not easy at times. And I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to give it a go. I can do it myself. So I just thought I'd give a few golden nuggets to any of you thinking that you wanted to give it a go. And my number one thing is communication. So when you go away, you need to, when you go away, you expect to be answered straight away. You need somebody at the other end of the phone. If you've got any questions, you expect someone to pick up. So some guests like to talk and some guests don't. But whatever form of communication they want is absolutely key. Always provide detailed check-in instructions. Always check in with your guests mid-stay, and always make yourself available even when you're not. That's an art. I've done it, especially with loads of kids. And I think, oh my gosh, you've always got to make yourself available for people. Make sure you have 5-star cleaning, because you'll get reviewed on cleaning. They expect it to be 5-star. Clean bedding, clean towels. People always say to me, oh, leave welcome packs, you'll get better reviews. It doesn't matter if the place is dirty. It has to be clean. Always make sure there's no areas missed, because no matter how small you think it is, a guest will pick it up. And get really good Wi-Fi, because guests would rather good Wi-Fi than running water in most instances. If Wi-Fi goes down, world ends. I've dealt with 4 Wi-Fi issues just today. And people get stressed. So make sure you always have really good internet connections and always have a backup solution. So they're just golden tips from hosting for so long, if any of you are thinking about it. So I'm just gonna, it's that part of the presentation when you think, oh, she's gonna plug her own business, but I just want to tell you about co-host partners and what we do. I'll pop my information up at the end, so please feel free to text me, call me, email me, and we can always have a chat. So we're a property management company. We are probably the biggest in Wales now, and as I said, we're expanding across the whole of the UK. We have 180 properties. We deal with over 100 owners, so that's investors, people with 1 or 2 properties, and we deal with renters and things like that as well. We've got over 15 staff now. Predominantly, most of them are working in guest communication, so there's always somebody there at the other end of the phone or over Airbnb messaging for any problems that guests have. We have 180, 90 in Cardiff, and we're always on the hunt looking for more. So like I said, with Alesco, Miriam, we have taken quite a few down in Taunton now, and then we're just waiting for their Manchester blocks to come up and stuff. So yeah, 180, but big aspirations to grow even bigger. I've just basically explained all that, but what we do as a company, we will take your property furnished, then we will list it across all the major booking platforms. I've already spoken about the biggest: Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, Expedia. We also have our own direct sales. 40% of all of our bookings are coming directly to us because of this rise in this midterm stays. We charge 10% plus VAT as standard, so 12% all in. And then we will deal with all of the guest communication. We deal with all of the calendar management. We verify all our guests as well. We will deal with all the cleaners, maintenance if anything goes wrong. Probably the hardest part of the job is making sure that cleaners are there at the right time. There is nothing worse than a phone call to say that a property hasn't been cleaned when a guest arrives. So that's a large amount of what we do. And obviously making sure that people have their check-in instructions, because that's stressful when people don't know where they're going. So we take away the everything, because it is a full-time job managing property. So we do that for you. And how we work, it's really simple process. It's gotten so much easier as technology is evolving as well. So a lot of systems will do it for us, which is fantastic. So yeah, I would meet with yourself. We talk about your property needs, give you some revenue estimates on how much you could expect to earn. We'd look at whether it'd be great potential for a midterm stay. We like to we use a system called Price Labs, and we use AirDNA as well to basically assess you know, when's the best time to be making hay when the sun shines, as they say. So in the summer, we're always booked out on short-term stays. Then as we go into winter months, what's the likelihood of us getting a midterm stays, and what does that look like? We then onboard your property, have professional photos taken, build your listing, and we can be live within 3 days across all the major booking platforms. We then start taking bookings, you start earning, we start earning, and then we stay on top of things. So I am a sales and account director within the company, so chances are you'd have a lovely chat with me once a month or whenever you need to stay on top of how it's performing. So in a nutshell, yeah, that's what we do. It's a crazy industry, crazy. You wouldn't believe some of the things I hear and see on a daily basis, but it's fun. It makes great money, and it's something that is evolving every single day. It's super exciting. I mean, I think we're all going to be Airbnb-ing in space very soon, which will be a cool thing. So yeah, it's a fun thing, a fun industry to be in. Yeah, and if any of you've got any questions about what we do, about Airbnb in general, it comes with a lot of, you know, people say to me, oh, what happens if there's a party or a hen or a stag do? You know, if you've got any hesitations about short-term lets, then please do let me know, and I'll be happy to see if I can answer any questions. But there we go, there's my details. If any of you want to get in touch with me, is my telephone number and my email address as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Fran. That was a brilliant presentation. I think everybody enjoyed that. Has anybody got any questions for Fran at this point in time? If so, unmute yourselves and just shout out. It's pointless shouting, still on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fran, just a quick question.
Hi.
I thought I'd start with a question. I've got a question, but I don't know how to word it. And I thought I'd get people talking and asking questions. My question is, you've talked about Cardiff there and Newport, and obviously the saturation in Cardiff. Newport, I think, is great because of what's happening with the ICC and not enough bedrooms because of
Amazing.
it. Yeah. What about surrounding areas like Cumbraon, for instance? What do you see?
Yeah. So interestingly, so we've got, I'm going to use, we have got 5 apartments, which is an old Baptist church, converted into 5 luxury apartments in Abertillery. So it's out just outside, you know, of Newport.
Is that a Property Sources building? No, it's not Mills. It's not Mills's property.
No, it's not. No. So a builder bought it and basically did the construction himself and then gave it to us to short-term let. And it's basically like a bit of a hub for workers. We get a load of construction workers coming, and they'll stay on these like midterm. So they'll stay like 3, 4, 5 weeks, because the trouble that we have, and it's not trouble, but when it's the same as Newport, it's not a destination hotspot like Cardiff. You know, it's not many people will want to go holiday there every weekend. So that's where midterms are amazing. So places like Newport, we are crying out for more properties. I keep saying to Ben, we're actively looking for more. Places like Abertillery and out in the valleys, where the supply isn't so high, but the demand is really, really high. So there's all these people wanting to go away to work, or for whatever reason, but we don't have enough property. So the outskirts of Wales do amazingly well. Don't get me wrong, Cardiff, it sounded like I was giving it a bad time. I live in Cardiff, I love Cardiff. But you can imagine how many people have Airbnb their property, and it's a real race to get seen. But there's still enough going on in the city that we get good occupancy rates. But yeah, great question. Outside of the city, these places are amazing. So if you've got any, let me know.
So Sapphire Gardens in Cardiff
Yeah.
is a very nice area, right by the city centre.
Yeah.
What are they 5-bedroom, recently refurbed property fetched there?
If you were to put it into apartments or just keep it as a 5-bedroom
Just
house?
It's a 5-bedroom house.
Oh, really good question. I'm just looking. I'm just thinking.
I know I put you on the spot.
I'm just thinking of a comparable. So it would all depend on like the spec. So there's property
right,
that we.
the house is probably worth 1.5, 1.7.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
so-
Because we have a lot of property with their 5-bedroom, but they're maybe not as maintained as nicely. So rates, it is just a place for workers. But if it's a nice like 5-bedroom place, you know, I always think about how many people, what you're going to be sleeping, 10 people there.
Mhm.
So you're going to be £700-800 a night
Okay.
on the weekends. When it comes to concerts and stuff like that, crazy money. It'll go for like 2 grand just for a night. We've got a place actually, do you know Chippy Lane in Cardiff? We've got a penthouse there, sleeps like 8. It'll go for £1,000 on a Saturday night, just because of where it is and how many people it can sleep.
If any of you don't know Chippy Lane, you've not lived.
No.
Get out, get to Cardiff and sort yourself out.
It's literally opposite Dorothy's. Yeah, this place. Amazing.
Is Dorothy still there?
Yeah. Still there.
God, that's a
Yeah,
blast from the past.
Yeah. And especially Sophia Gardens, because that's like the Pontcanna area, which holds such it's a nice area, isn't it? So as soon as you put a nice house in a nice area near the city, yeah, it can be crazy. The things that we've previously struggled with is just fill in weekends. So you just have Friday, Saturday, and all of a sudden you just got 8 nights booked. But I think with a flip now of midterm stays, it's amazing because you can get people in there Monday to Friday paying a really good rate. So if you've got, 5-6 people on business coming to an area, especially actors and things like they love Pontcanna. We always get asked from film crew if we've got any places in Pontcanna. So they'll come and they'll film, but they want to stay in a nice accommodation together. So yeah, big money.
I recently did a rent to rent in Kincoed. And whilst it was very good, I think I had too much going on to kind of just let it build up, if you like, because I think when you first start it, it's quite slow until it starts getting the reviews. But
Yeah.
I've now passed it on. But I just wonder what I'm sure there's not a magic formula, but what is it? Do you need to have more than one for it to be profitable? Because what I was finding, I think if I'd have had, say, 3 or 4, and they would sort of, the ones closer to town or in a different place would have compensated for the one in Kincoed when it wasn't very busy. But because it was just one, it was falling short quite often. And it just wasn't suiting where I'm at in my property journey at the moment.
Yeah.
So
No, I see what you're saying. It's funny, we've just taken 2 in Kincoed, 287. Yeah, 287, and it's a rent to rent as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 flats. Yes, in answer to your question, and I'm always really transparent. There's no point saying, "Oh no, absolutely one, you can make millions," because you
Yeah,
can't.
no, you can't.
Yeah, it does depend on location in that instance. So I started in my one lonely place, 1 bedroom in Cardiff Bay. I'm actually trying to sell it now, actually. But I because of the location, it was, you know, I was netting 2,000 to 2,500 a month.
Yeah.
But because of that, it's in Century Wharf in Cardiff. You know
Yeah.
it's right by the train station, and you know, brilliant. But when you go a little bit further out, like King Coed, I see what yeah, you sometimes then, if you're just relying on that one, you'll need other ones to pull it through.
Yeah, yeah.
The one, and I'm honestly, it looks like I'm like midterm stay like super fan. Maybe I am. But that's where we're placing a lot of these midterm stays, so because they're just outside of the city, so people coming into work, they want a parking space, they don't want to be in the hustle and bustle, they're perfect, and then
Yeah,
it becomes really profitable. It all depends on what the market's doing as well.
yeah. But the laundry, like one of the things that was really the cleaning and the laundry, it was sort of like £700 a month. And then the rent was high. So my starting point was really high before you could
Yeah,
make any money. So it was just,
yeah,
I think it was just part of my long learning curve in
yeah.
property. But I think I'm
Rent to
getting
rent's
better.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
rent to rent's hard because of, like you said, the outgoings in the
yeah,
first instance are so high. Cleaning and things like that, we always charge to the guests, so that might be a little
yeah,
bit different now. Yeah, we just charge everything to they pay for it all, so you never have to worry about that. And then it's a case of trying to, you know, it can't work at 50%, 60% occupancy, and you can't just rely on you know, gigs coming to the city or the rugby coming to
no,
Cardiff, you know, things like
no,
that. So that's where we need to market it out to longer term,
yeah.
short terms.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Because that was one of the best months I had. That was when I had about I think there was 4 roofers staying in there for about a month or something, and
Yeah,
it was
there we go.
perfect. Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's on the up though. So yeah, it's
Okay,
getting really popular.
right.
Can I ask
Thanks.
which is more lucrative? Is it better to have multiple smaller properties or maybe one bigger property? Obviously, the smaller properties are probably going to be easier to let out, whereas the bigger properties will be more difficult, but they're more expensive and more, I know, and get more money each time they are rented out.
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. It all depends on the location as well. So I'd say if you're looking at like city centre locations, it is good to have like a few kind of dotted around. But then we've got lovely big homes in Mumbles in Swansea in the Gower, and the property owner will just have the one, and you can imagine how much money they'll make during like the peak seasons. So from Easter to September, they're just fully booked, and they're, you know, 3 bedroom properties where you can sleep 8. They don't need any other properties because they make such a killing. So it depends on where you're looking, locality wise. To be honest, I always like to say it's great to have a diverse portfolio
Yeah.
because of that reason. You know, you
Mm.
can market to all the different staycationers, you can cater to load of midterm rental market as well. Because, for example, you could get a 3 bedroom home, and like Miriam had, you know, 4 roofers stay in it, rather than them going to get 4 different single apartments. So it's always good to have a diverse portfolio. It's what we do as a company as well. We don't want to manage just 1, 2 bedroom apartments in city centres. So this is why we go out and we got lodges and barns and things like that, because we want to be able to make hay when the sun shines. I'm going to say it again with the holiday homes in the summer, and then capitalize from the cities where there's so much going on. It's a really good question, and to be honest, I wish I had a crystal ball and be able to tell you. But
No,
if you want, it will come down to location. So if you ever need, revenue figures and stuff like that, I can pull loads of reports. I could
I'm just
literally
intrigued because I'm not far from Aberdeen Lady myself. But,
yeah. Baptist Church does really well. King Street Apartments.
okay, I'll have a look. Thank you.
Anything else?
Anyone else got any questions for Fran at this point in time?
Hiya, can I just ask a question about these midterm stays?
Yeah, sure.
Hiya, yeah. Do you as a company go out and proactively create relationships with contractors, or is it more individuals from contractors come to you, hear what you're about, and then the business develops from there? If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, is your answer, is my answer. So we have a company that they're called Mia Partners, and that's their whole business is they have relationships with they've got a whole bank of corporate clients. They then book their corporate clients into accommodation, and they've got access to all of our properties. So they basically act as sales for us essentially, because they're selling our rooms and apartments. So they'll just go in and just block it out. So yeah, we do have that. That's why it's so high for us midterms, because we've got that company doing that for us, which is amazing. And then the other side of it is companies will come through Airbnb and Booking.com. So they've usually got like a Genius or a business account with Booking.com, and they'll come to us directly. Then we form that relationship. But to be honest, I'd say 90% of them come through our partner, Mia.
That's great, thank you. Sorry, I'm smiling and nodding, but I can see my camera's turned off now. So I was listening.
Yeah.
I appreciate your answer. Thank you very much.
It's okay.
Anyone else got any more questions at this point in time? It's interesting the way the dynamics change, because I was talking to Fran this week, and as a family, we've had a serviced accommodation unit since before the days of Airbnb. We acquired it in 1998, I believe. It's a flat in Suffolk, so it's 250 miles away from Newport, directly east, as far east on the rump of Britain, as far east as you can possibly go. And my dad bought that in 1998, and he paid £55,000 for it. It's a one-bed apartment. It's right on the beach. Lovely little fishing town called Aldeburgh. Not many people from Wales know of Aldeburgh because it's quite challenging to get there. The first time I took my partner Claire there, some 13, 14 years ago, it took us 9 hours to get there. So I'm stuck in traffic in central London because I was being clever, because the M25 was closed. So I thought I'd take a detour through central London where I used to work. We're stuck in rush hour traffic, and I'm there swearing, saying we could get to flaming Dubai quicker than we could get here. Why do you want to come here? Anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful place. But the whole dynamic of it has changed so much over the past few years that my dad and I have taken a decision to actually sell it, because when we first had it, my dad lived down there for a while. That's hence his interest in the region. I absolutely love it down there as well. We had quite a few units down there, houses and flats down there. And Coast Guard Court on the High Street in Aldeburgh is the last surviving unit by probably about 15 years. I think it was probably, well, it's probably longer than that. It's about 2006, 2007 that we sold the last ones there, just before the credit crunch, luckily. But what's changed there massively is that when we first started renting this out, there was no internet. So it was not a case of Airbnb or Booking.com. It was a case of English country cottages, where you used to go to WH Smith's or your local newsagent, pick up. Now, I'm trusting that probably there's some people on here that will remember this, or some people that won't remember this. English country cottages, a big green magazine, and you could rent cottages and farms and barns and flats and houses all over the UK. So you used to make your booking, via telephone, obviously, give your credit card details down the telephone, make your booking for the selected property that you've chosen on the selected dates. And what that used to do was, it was quite good in some ways, because there's no kind of instant transaction. People would quite often book 12 months in advance. So if they'd gone to their flat in Coast Guard Court and they'd enjoyed their stay and they want to come back next year, they would literally ring up and book it again for next year. So we could clearly see a 12-month booking kind of schedule there for us, which was absolutely fantastic. And as time went on, we were probably netting back then about a £20,000 a year profit after costs. But of course, the costs have risen. And in Albury, it's become very, very popular with the London types. It's only about 60, 70 minutes from London. So it's become extremely popular. And of course, what does that mean? Well, your old fishing town, which used to have locals living there, does not have locals living there anymore. This £55,000 one-bedroom flat is now worth £400,000, and it's not big either. It is right on the beach. It has got a car parking space, got loads going for it, but it's not big. And we're probably making, at the moment, £30,000 a year. So we've probably not increased on inflation even on what we were making back in those days. There's so many other properties there now. Most of the houses and the accommodation that was for local people in this town is now being converted into, second homes, holiday homes, and of course, serviced accommodation offerings. So there's a lot more competition now, and it's become a lot more expensive down there. So we've taken a decision purely upon income, expenditure, property value, etc., just looking at the yield on what we're achieving to actually sell it. But that, for me, is just a huge indicator of how this has actually changed. And what I've become really interested from spending a lot of time with Fran is that she's mentioned a lot about the mid-term stays. Now, I'm not interested because I could tell you stories. I mean, the things that used to happen. I used to go down there probably once every 12 months just to spend a week down there. Absolutely loved it. Met some famous people down there. Really nice way of life. Enjoyed myself down there immensely. One of the most entertaining things, we have one of those guest books, the old-fashioned guest book where people can write. And I used to ring my dad and say to Dad, I said, look, Dad, we've got major problems now. I said, one guest has told us that the pebbles on the beach are quite large and they're far too big. So we obviously need a bit of coastal erosion to sort that out. The mobile phone signal is apparently terrible. So we need to either demolish the cliff or put a mobile phone mast on top of the property. One of them said that the high street was not mobility scooter friendly. So we've obviously got to reconfigure the 300-year-old high street as well. So we've got a lot of work on, according to the guest book, we've got a lot of work on our hands here. But it always was quite entertaining, and just to watch the change. So the change for me has been that now a lot of people will book for the weekend now. So literally, we're on Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll book for the weekend now. So there's a bit of uncertainty as to what you get with holiday lets. And I also think that, amongst other things, we had a washing machine stolen. Yeah, somebody stole, all right, people steal towels, people steal cutlery. They stole the bloody washing machine. That's another story entirely. But at the same time, I'm looking more, like I say, from spending time with Fran to looking at these midterm lets, because let's take it onto the other side of the spectrum now. I think this is really important, is that when we look at how we traditionally use buy-to-let properties, and I apologise if there's any letting agents on here that I'm going to slate what I think is obviously the BTL opportunity for us all here, is that if we take another property that we've got in our portfolio, the letting agent decided in their infinite wisdom not to tell us before they extended the tenancy contract to another 12 months. Now, they did that literally at the point we'd made a decision to sell that particular property. So not only do we have to give them 6 months notice, we've got to wait for the 12 months to expire. So we're about 2 months into it. So I said to my dad, if the tenant behaves themselves, we're looking at 16 months. If they don't behave themselves and they contact shelter or they want to, a court case or whatever the outcome actually is, I said we could be talking 2 years here before we can get control of that property legally once more. It could be a potential 2-year wait, which for us is not a major issue. But if, for example, we were in a crisis situation that we needed to sell the property and cash in on it quickly, we wouldn't be able to do so. And am I right in saying, Fran, that, for example, if we had a midterm let in there, let's say that the that the current occupants were in there until the end of July, we could cancel future bookings. I mean, it's not something we'd like to do, but we could potentially cancel future bookings and then take possession of that property at the end of July. So instead of waiting a potential 2 years, we can take possession at the end of this month, which would be, for me, an entirely different dynamic and something that I'm looking very, very closely at these midterm. I don't want holidaymakers who haven't got a mobile phone signal, there's not enough channels on the Freeview, the high street's not mobility friendly. Why would you want to watch TV when you go on holiday and you've got the beach outside? Why, ignore your relatives, ignore your friends. They can phone you back tomorrow. Why would you want to do it? But anyway, holidaymakers are great, and that gift book was fantastic. But at the same time, I'm really excited by these midterm lets.
It's getting so much bigger. It's nuts because the world's so different, isn't it? You just think of how many people they don't need to go into offices and stuff. So these digital nomads can work from wherever they like. We get loads of people who have moved out of their home because they're waiting to complete as well. So and they need someone to live for like 3 months and they can't go and get a long-term let. Especially people who have bought new houses and they bought off plan and there's been delays with bills. We have them all the time and we can just, there's no contract. You can book via the platform and you pay up front.
It's a wonderful, I was hoping, I think Ben Wilmot's disappeared now, but one of my mentees, Ben, he's living the high life at the moment. He's staying in serviced accommodation at the moment in Kiev in Ukraine. It's actually a private security guard, so he's working out there at the moment. And we were talking about it earlier about how much he prefers to stay in serviced accommodation, aka an apartment or a studio, than a hotel room. And I think that's the way when you're doing like sort of 4 or 5 weeks, it's nice to be able to have your own toaster, have your own microwave, have your own kettle, rather than having to go out and get takeaways or go to the bar and get drinks or order drinks room service, which is very costly. I just think that's definitely the way forward. I really, really do. So it's with a huge opportunity, I think, right now. And it's also answering the problems that we've got with current rentals too. So I think there's a lot of scope for us here at the moment.
Yeah.
It's really, really exciting. Has anyone else got questions at the moment? Any more questions for Fran? If you do have any questions for her, then please, you've got her contact details now, and we can certainly share them. So just drop us a line if you want her contact details on there. But if nobody else has got any questions at this point in time, we're coming up to 8 p.m. I like to keep it to an hour. I don't want to keep too much time out of your day. I appreciate you're all very busy people and you've got things to do. So unless anyone's got any questions, Jamie's just reappeared. Do you have a question, Jamie? You look quite relaxed there. You look quite reclined.
I come up to my bed quickly, to be honest with you.
Leo goes to bed at 8. Turn the camera off now.
Leo, for those that don't know, obviously most of you know I put Leo to bed. So it's come up here quickly.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Massive thank you to everyone for coming on our fortnightly Zoom networking webinar. We have them every fortnight. And a very big thank you to Fran Brazil.
You're welcome.
I was going to say home host, but it's not now. It's co-host partner.
Co-host, home host, yeah.
Co-host partner.
We just love hosts.
Yeah, so thank you so much for giving us a great insight. Like I say, guys, her contact details are available if you want a consultation with her about any questions you may have, or you're thinking of getting into the arena yourselves. I couldn't recommend a better person myself. So indeed. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely to have you all on this evening.
Thank you very much, Fran.
See you.
You're welcome.
Thank
you.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.